25 na kwenda upande wa pili pia vile tuweza kusikiza maoni mengi kuhusiana na mswada huo wa fedha, pia maoni kuhusiana na mapendekezo hayo ya mwaka 2024, mwaka 2024, mwaka 2025.
Innovate clawback on the efforts that the government is making on climate change mitigations. And then there is also the issue of the introduction of eco levy on diapers. Even though diapers are not eco-friendly, we feel like this is a moral question. It raises a moral question without alternatives, and without alternatives to diapers, we feel that this is morally wrong to subject diapers to eco levy. There is also increase of excise duty on banking or rather financial services, and we feel this particular levy would this particular excise would increase the cost of doing business, and as we know, the business environment is already tight. Most of the businesses are trying to survive. And other than the excise duty, the bill is also proposing to impose VAT on the same and standard rate, and we feel that should be reconsidered. On also the issue of the environment, removal of zero-rated status for electric buses, supply of electric buses and electric bicycles, we feel like this will also discourage the use of green energy options, and which will also contradict the efforts we are having towards the environment and what the amount of funds being spent on towards cleaning the country. There is also the proposal to remove tax exemptions on associations and family trusts. Of particular concern is the amateur sports associations. Remember, we coming from the athletic region, and we feel that this will have negative impact on development of talent. There is also a proposal to introduce withholding taxes on supply of goods to public entities. The agency tax on it is not a problem. Where the problem that we are having is that the business individuals have been having problems with public entities while remitting the same taxes which are withheld by them. We feel like this proposal should come with stiff penalties on non-compliance on the part of remittance to KRA, and especially on the petroleum industry. You realize that the profit margins in petroleum industry is very low. So withholding a gross of 3% on petroleum products, for instance, supplied to a public entity, and according to EPRA's directive on the margins of petroleum, which stands at around 4%, and then not remitting the same in time, will actually injure the business. There is also the issue of introducing an excise duty on edible oils at 25%. We understand that this move is meant to protect the local production of edible oils, but the effect will also be so adverse on the cost of living, because 25% is so high. There is also the issue of increasing the excise duty on internet services, internet data services, from 15 to 20%. And at the same time, the government is working so hard to digitize its services, so the cost of accessing the services would go high. It would be high and would discourage the same effort that is being done by the government to digitize its services. And then there is also introduction of the motor vehicle circulation tax. I know this particular proposal have been prosecuted in so many quarters, but our view is that the proposal as it is discriminatory, and it lays more burden on the middle class citizens by way of capping the maximum amount at 100,000 shillings. Because you see, 100,000 shillings, that is a vehicle whose value is 4 million shillings. This will actually relieve the high income earners and who would take the luxury vehicles. Because why would you cap at 4 million? What if I buy a vehicle at 30 million? I mean, the tax should be equitable. Those are our presentations, and as to our suggestions, I would give my members to comment on those.
Thank you very much, Chair. And at this point, maybe I would only still go back to the one that deals with the amateur associations, that is on sports. And I would really want to get some clarity, because this is where the talents are being produced, and once you remove that exemption, it affects on the getting of talent, so that they become professional, people who will do it for this country. So that is an area that, if left the way it is, it can be used to really now kill what we are now promoting in this country under the Talanta Ela and the other areas, because remember, sports is the future for this country when it comes to getting jobs for the youth and also turning them into professionals. So that clarity on after you remove now, what happens to those ones who are nurturing those talents on the ground. On the one for being an hotelier, on the one for edible oil and that, I think we should look at that one, because at the moment people cannot even afford to buy what we are already selling, especially on the mid-level hotels. We really suffering. So consider us for that, so that we are able also to cure the problem that we have in the hotel industry, whereby our input is becoming a problem, whereas everything that we are selling is all fatted. So we would really want to ask that on this one for the edible oil, have a look at it, because currently 70% of what we are using in the hotel industry, whether it's milk, vegetable, all those ones are zero rated. So we have a problem now trying to get our input so that we claim. So once you increase this one again, we will have no sales, and the problem is that the moment we don't have sales, then there's no, tax to be paid.
Thank you so much, Chair. I would want to add my comments on 3 areas. One is the issue of bread. I think this additional tax proposal adds to the overall cost of bread, and as we all know, bread is a commodity that is used in many households now. What this proposal would do would be that it will introduce, people will move from the formal production of bread to the way it happened to the issue of wines. And I think what we need to do is to protect, because most of the consumers of bread are at family level, and we need to protect the young people from going for substandard products, because if the bread goes up, I think that will be a major challenge. The other thing I want to comment on is on the excise duty on money transfer services. I think that increase from what it is now, 15 to 20%, what that will do is it will discourage people from using the technology that is there in terms of transferring money to going back to using cash. And that will definitely have an impact on even the revenues that the government is going to collect, because people will shy away from using that facility. The third area I want to comment on is on the motor vehicle tax. As my colleague has said, this matter has been prosecuted many times, but I think what we need to do is to get ourselves understand, like, if there is a proposal of 2.5% of the value of the vehicle, that essentially says that government will, from 1st January 2025, take the equivalent value of 2.5% of the value of all vehicles in Kenya, except those that are exempted from paying this tax. And next year, they will do another 5%, like that. I think we need to use, we in Kenya use vehicles and in the business to facilitate the business to go forward and then pay tax on the business that we are doing. So we are proposing the scrapping of this particular proposal completely. I know it will generate, as proposed, a lot of revenue for the government, but I think we need to look at the overall impact on businesses. And the issue about the discriminatory nature, if I have a vehicle of, let's say, 200,000, then I will pay the minimum of 5,000 shillings. But if my vehicle, because there are many vehicles in this country which are still on the road and the value is less than 200,000 and they're still on the road, then the other thing that comes to mind on this is how will the valuation be done for those vehicles? Because under the proposal, the commissioner has been given the power to issue additional guidelines. But then what will be the basis for which the value will be determined that your vehicle is this much? I think that clarity should come. But then in totality of this, our proposal is that it needs to be scrapped altogether, because it will really push the cost of doing business across the country, because all that cost will eventually, if you're using for business, you'll transfer that cost to the consumers. And finally, I wanted to comment also on the issue, or to add something on the issue of bread, because bread as it is now, when it is produced, you can make a claim on the, because it's, the way you produce bread is you get some raw materials, and then because you don't have an input, you can actually claim that from KRA. But now the introduction of the VAT will then essentially say that you can't do the claim as it is proposed now. And that will do a lot of...
please try to conclude, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm concluding. That's actually my last point. That will really push the cost of bread. And as I have said before, the bread is an essential commodity in many households. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eldoret Business Association. You've been heard.